Hey everybody, Vince August here. It is Friday, July 17th, and today I want to talk to you about something called cancel culture. This is the thing that has been sweeping the country for the last several years, if not decade. That's where people want to get other people canceled from society because they have either said something or done something that goes against someone else's belief system. And we're starting to see what corporations now with boycott this company, boycott that company, just because they endorse a candidate or whatever. Now listen. When it comes to cancel culture, I think we need to really start looking at who the people are that want the things canceled and whether they're even affected by the stuff that they want canceled, or this is just people soapboxing because you know what? They just want to attack everything. And this is where we are now. It's just attack everything. We don't build bridges. We just destroy bridges right now. Let's start off with two examples. Take the first one, the Washington Redskins. Now listen, this team has had this issue for many, many years, and a lot of people have been talking about this. When I look at the Washington Redskins, I say, listen, you have to talk to Native Americans. You have to ask Native Americans, does it really bother you to see your history, your culture portrayed in that way? Because you know what? You can't look at the players that have played for the team. Black and white alike. They take the salary, put on the helmet, have no problem with it. Wear the jacket, wear the jersey. It's not like after in the locker room, they take off the helmet and like, man, you know, it's really hard playing out there with that helmet on, knowing that, you know, we're just really treating Native Americans the wrong way. But no, I've never heard that, okay? So you have to actually go to Native Americans and say, listen, is this something that you feel is demeaning? And let's hear that voice. That's the voice I want to hear from. And listen, there's people that are not in the NFL or don't watch football that want it canceled, that can't stand the NFL. Listen, they're allowed to have their voice. They're allowed to have their opinion because it is something that affects a lot of people. I get it. But at the same time, I want to hear from Native Americans. Much like, listen, as an Italian, would I want to see a team called the Dagos or the Wops and have, you know, a guy in a jogging suit on a helmet or a meatball on a helmet? No, because that's not the way I want my culture looked at. I don't want it to be a stereotype. Now listen, people say, well, what about you, Vin? Don't you make stereotype jokes on stage? I do, but the NFL is not a comedy club. The NFL is not they're not out there telling jokes. They're out there playing and they're using a logo as a symbol of strength or a symbol of, look, this is what we are, this is what we represent. That's a different story. Let's ask Native Americans how they feel about it, and let's hear that voice. Now listen, right now the Washington Redskins have other problems as well, between sexual harassment suits, toxic work environment suits, everything else. In fact, their new nickname should be the Washington Red-Handed, because that's what you've been, caught red-handed. Listen, there's a lot of names we can give the Redskins. They're located in D.C. How about the Lobbyist, okay? Because they own everything else in D.C. You might as well give them that. Or the Swamp. I don't think that thing ever got drained. Or how about the Washington scumbag politicians that continue to run this country into the ground because we have no term limits? Now, that's a little bit long. I don't know how you fit that on the helmet. I don't know what the logo would be. Maybe, I don't know, showing the country, the United States, with an elephant screwing it from one side and a donkey screwing it from the other side. Maybe there's your logo. I don't know. Anyway, next topic. Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is in a lot of heat right now. He's catching a lot of heat from people because he went on this 2.5-minute rant about how black people are superior to white people, and it was very anti-Semitic, and it talked about the melanoma and skin and how they're closer to God and the sun doesn't affect, all kinds of stuff. Now listen, there's a big difference between blurting something out in anger and saying something in anger and having a belief system. Two completely different things. And I'm not going to use the one with regards to race because I don't want to signal any one race. So let's do it this way. You yell out the word, God damn it. Now, that doesn't make you an atheist, okay? That doesn't make you someone that doesn't necessarily believe in God. It doesn't mean that you hate all religions. That was a moment of anger where you blurted something out. Listen, I know people that are very religious that yell out that word. It's just that. It's a moment of anger. It's a slip. That's a big difference than someone going on for minutes on end saying, listen, this is what I believe. And if that's what you believe, if this is what Nick said is what he believes, hey, Nick, own it. And he had people supporting him all over Twitter. People are just like, yeah, you know what? Say it. We think it too. That's fine. Look, you're going to have people that agree with you. And if that's your stance, fine. Look, you don't need Viacom. You don't need Fox. You have YouTube. You have all these different platforms out there where you can do stuff and you can make a living. Now, he didn't apologize immediately after he lost his job with CBS and Viacom. He doubled down. Then, apparently, all of a sudden, he saw the light and apologized. And now people that were supporting him are like, now you're irrelevant. And people that were against him are like, we don't accept your apology because you believe. No, you can't do that. Okay? Look, You have to actually look at the person's intent and heart and go beyond one moment. Okay, because there's a lot of reasons why people get caught up in moments, and right now especially, we're all on edge. I don't know that any of you out there would want to be judged by a 2.5 minute moment in your life or a segment of your life, even if it was a bad day, a bad week. That doesn't necessarily define who you are as a person. Okay, that one slip up. And listen, we've seen it with Alec Baldwin. We've seen it with Roseanne Barr. We've seen it with all kinds of people between Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and everything that's going on there. Look at what's going on with CNN and Don Lemon and the way he contradicts himself constantly. Chris Cuomo and his lies and everything else. Look, we can do this all day long on either side. And here's the key from what I've seen from people on either side. If you like the person, you don't cancel them. If you dislike the person, you want them canceled. But here's what bothers me most about this. It's people that are completely unaffected by this, that jump in the fray, that just want to see people canceled because right now, this is where we are. We just want to burn it down to the ground. That's not the way we should be existing in our society right now. Because you know what? It's possible Nick is just not educated with regards to the Jewish culture. Listen, I know a lot of people that aren't educated to the black culture, to Spanish culture, South America. I know people in this country that have never left the country or their state. How do you know about different cultures and different people if you never travel and get to actually meet those people and see what it's like? See what the South is like. See what it's like growing up in the South and seeing Confederate statues all over the place, or seeing what different areas of the world are like. Some people just don't have that information. And you know what? You can't punish someone just because you see them say things based on the only knowledge they have. That's not what we should do as a society. What we should do is sit together and educate one another. Talk to one another. Sit down with Nick and say, listen, Nick, this is why that bothered us. This is why it was wrong. And if Nick turns around and says, hey, too bad, that's what I believe, then that's who Nick is. If Nick sits and looks at you and says, hey, listen, man, you know what? I was having a bad day. I just got caught up in a rant. And you know what? That's not me. That's not who I am. Don't we owe it to each other to do something more than be judged by the moment? Don't we owe it to one another to hear the person out beyond that one moment? Aren't we better than just immediately judging somebody, not letting them speak ever again, canceling them, and getting rid of them? Now, people are saying to me, well, what about The Masked Singer, Vin? Are you going to watch The Masked Singer? I got to be honest, I never watched this show. I think it's the most overrated, overhyped show on TV with these judges and their over-the-top reactions like they went to the Jim Carrey School of Acting. I don't watch it because I don't like the show. It's got nothing to do with Nick, because I'm not into canceling people. I'm into giving people an opportunity to be heard. And you know what? If I disagree with them, hey, man, you do you, I'll do me. We'll go in different directions. But if a person makes a mistake, look at your life. Look at your relationships. How many times have you called your significant other a bitch or an asshole? Do you want your entire relationship being judged by that one moment? I don't think we should judge people based on one moment. Now, if it's a history and a track record, hey, that's you. I don't know, man. That's just my opinion. I think we're better than all of this right now.